and hello guys, and today we're gonna be watching TornadoTRX. So before we start, smash that like button and subscribe so you do not miss any but post notification bells. So let's get into the videos. The most destructive tornado ever recorded.
What would you do if one of the strongest tornadoes ever was tearing through your neighborhood?
I don't know what happened.
Destroying your school, your hospital, and before you even had time to process what was happening, it vanished.
Now, how did it vanish that fast? I have time to process this. May 19th.
A massive tornado tears through central Oklahoma, just to the east of the Oklahoma City metro area. The sparse,
guys, every time there's always Oklahoma who has the worst tornadoes
populated
in the
forest near Lake Thunderbird lessened the impact as the EF4 tornado carves through the terrain. Sadly, 2 people would be killed, but this destruction did not come without warning. In fact, a well-forecasted, multi-day tornado outbreak was in progress, and it was all due to this. This is a trough. A wave of low pressure sweeping across the United States. This trough is fairly wide and moving quite slowly, allowing specific ingredients in the atmosphere to conglomerate in one area, such as 1. CAPE, the convective available potential energy, or the energy needed for storms to form and persist. 2. Wind shear.
I know what this is.
Low-level winds, which allow storms to organize and spin.
I played Twisted.
And 3.
I know
Moisture needed to spread heat and fuel storms. Forecasters at the National Weather Service noticed these ingredients and put out a plethora of outlooks for the following days. So far, the outlooks for intense tornadoes have been correct, but the next day, May 20th, was looking more interesting than scary. A 10% outlook for tornadoes was drawn around a corridor from Oklahoma to Arkansas. From an overall perspective, the next day would be one of the more unsure days of the whole system. Moore, Oklahoma is a pretty average suburban community from the outside, essentially just a sprawling appendage to the much larger Oklahoma City. But any resident that has lived there for a while knows Moore is anything but average. And it all usually comes down to one date, May 3rd, 1999. One of the strongest tornadoes ever tears through the heart of Moore, Oklahoma. May 3rd became sort of a staple for locals. The destruction was unheard of, and the community took years to recover. Other tornadoes continued to occur in Moore, such as in 2003 and in 2010, but nothing could ever compare to the sheer devastation of May 3rd.
Oh my, that looks huge.
I want to take a brief moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, Displate. Like many of you, I've dealt with the limitations of your average poster. That's why I've partnered with Displate. These aren't standard posters. They're high quality metal prints that solve tons of problems with modern wall art. If you're in a rental space underneath the surface, the atmosphere wasn't playing by the rules. Currently, the wind shear, which provided storms with rotation, was remarkably unimpressive, especially near the surface, meaning any storm that would form would have trouble rotating, and as a result, have trouble forming a tornado. But sometimes strange things occur. Experts just didn't know it yet. Currently, a cold front sprawls across the risk area. Colliding with the cold front, another boundary called a dry line sits. These fronts allow storms to form along them, and at 1 o'clock, multiple cells begin to form along the dry line in South Oklahoma. Most storm chasers are situated to the south of the metro area, where these forming storms seem to have the best chance, if any, of producing a tornado. Unfortunately for these chasers, the storms are struggling a lot. Even though the high amounts of energy in the atmosphere allow them to form and mature, the wind shear is just too weak and they are unable to rotate strongly. Up towards the north, multiple rain showers pop up fairly close to the 2 colliding boundaries, making for a rather sporadic mess of air, moving in all sorts of directions around this area. However, a secret pocket of rapidly moving air, essentially an anomaly, was intensifying around the cells, and forecasters had no idea. As the cells continued to grow, the northern storms of the cluster shoved the southern cell away from its north motion, to a more southeast motion. All of this unpredictable atmospheric chaos was doing something very strange to the southern storm, and a freak accident was about to occur. Southwest of Moore, Jennifer Vargas steps outside the Newcastle, Oklahoma Walmart, where she looks up and spots clouds ahead, rapidly carouseling. She begins to film what she's seeing. Just 30 seconds later, Newcastle law enforcement also notices the rotation, and tornado sirens in the general area go off.
Tornado siren just went off.
Across the highway, in another parking lot, amateur storm chaser Charles Cook is filming the rotation as well. That's when he notices a small nub protruding from the clouds.
I see it. Oh, I see it, guys. I see it. It's right here. It's right here. I see it.
Continues to stretch towards the ground.
It's going
Tiny
down.
swirls of wind can be seen brushing the field in front of him.
I do. Oh, I see it. Oh, I see it.
The tornado is incredibly weak, knocking down small trees and damaging
it's on the
roofs.
ground.
It also struggles to actually condense to the ground. Charles records as the tornado fully forms multiple times before picking back up. Michael Lynn, another storm chaser, also notices the rotation behind a tree line. He begins to drive down the interstate, and as the funnel comes into view, he watches as, without warning, the vortex plants firmly to the ground.
Maybe more. There looks like there may be another
tornado.
There looks like there may be another tornado to my north.
You
I have to
mean
stop.
another
This
one?
thing is getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
This thing
it
is
is.
getting large. It's moving fast. I'm all over this. We got power flashes. We got a major tornado.
That is major.
West of.
In under 30 seconds, the tornado went from hardly brushing the ground to a thick stovepipe launching debris. It doesn't stop intensifying as it crosses the road right in front of Michael.
Be in the shelter. I can't move. I've got this thing. I'm west of this tornado. This thing is huge. It's taking the May 3rd path. It's going right into Moore. Call her right now. Bye.
May 3rd.
Directly in its path is a neighborhood of a large country club homes. As it impacts the first home in the neighborhood, something incredibly unexpected happens. The tornado sweeps the entire home off of its foundation. Grass and soil under the vortex now begin to be ripped up in a process known as ground scouring, as 3 more homes are completely flattened. Not only is this similar to the damage associated with some of the strongest tornadoes ever, just 200 yards back, the only damage the tornado was able to do was knock over a fence. It's as if, as the tornado crossed the road, some supernatural force rapidly fueled the storm. And unless the tornado stopped as quickly as it started, every possible path would bring it directly into Moore, Oklahoma.
Oh my God.
Michael realizes the gravity of the situation. He watches the tornado continue to tear up the neighborhood, cloaking itself in a cloud of insulation and wood.
It's incredible.
That is incredible.
It's taking on.
Oh,
We're
that's
getting major damage.
Oh, the
As
stovepipe.
the tornado moves onwards towards the Canadian River, Michael takes off in pursuit of the tornado, racing it towards Moore. At the same time, all 3 local news stations are broadcasting live views of the intensifying tornado, which has now expanded into a large wedge shape. The broadcasts show the tornado approaching Interstate 44, which stretches over the Canadian River. Beside the interstate is the decommissioned US 62 bridge. Even though this heavy steel bridge is attached to the ground by concrete mounts, as the tornado slams into the interstate, large segments of the bridge are lifted off their mounts and are shunted over the road, blocking the southbound lane on the interstate. The vortex then crosses over a racetrack, mangling everything on the property and eyeing its next set of homes along 157th Street. The core begins to scour the grass, leaving dark streaks along the ground. Only 400 yards away, the homes on Drexel Avenue are the next structures to experience the full wrath of the now monster. Unlike the previous homes that were destroyed, these homes are well-built brick structures, which makes what happens next even more terrifying. The first 4 homes to experience the tornado's wrath are grazed by the north edge of the tornado's core, and yet they still buckle and collapse, only leaving a few walls standing.
This
but
is
the next
crazy.
2 homes are much less fortunate.
We'll skip it.
The other 3 would remain loft for much longer. The tornado crosses the intersection of Western and 149th Street and into the Orr family farm in the Celestial Acres horse training area, a large complex of stables, family attractions, and brick buildings.
Everything
This
is
is
gonna
where the
happen
tornado
next to
would
Oklahoma.
arguably cause some of the most extreme damage conceivable. As the tornado closes in on the farm, the forward motion of the tornado slows and almost stalls, allowing the tornado to sit on top of the area. The result of this is almost like a blender. Large brick structures are pulverized, and their debris is windrowed as the vortex edges
That looks
forwards.
great,
Up to 100
guys.
horses are killed as their accompanying
100
stables
horses?
disappear, and a 30-foot propane tank is picked up and lofted, joining the oil tanks that are still in the air. To the south, the tornado's southern edge is just barely impacting part of the Moore suburbs. Only 200 yards separate this neighborhood from the center of the tornado, but extreme damage is inflicted to the roofs and walls of the homes. Luck has run out for the tornado's track towards town, as the Orr family farm was the only thing separating the tornado from the
do you mean
densely
luck has
populated
run out?
neighborhoods of
What do you
Orr.
mean?
The tornado, now nearly a mile wide, crosses over
Why-
Western Avenue, marking the end of its journey through scattered properties. What lay ahead was an unbroken grid of homes, businesses, and schools. No more gaps between targets.
Oh,
no
yeah, I saw
more
the video
near
about the tornado
misses.
that-
And first in its path stood Brierwood Elementary. Inside the school, one of the teachers, Robin Jajits, films on her phone as she protects her students from the winds.
Holy crap!
It's almost over. Look at me.
The heck do you mean it's almost
Entire
over?
sections of the school collapse as the roof above them buckles, and one of the oil tanks that was still in the air comes crashing down next to the school. The bathrooms in Brierwood, in nothing short of a miracle, held up to the over 200-mile-per-hour winds, saving every single life in the school. The rest of the building, however, which was constructed out of pure brick and steel, was razed to the ground. The tornado passing the elementary school meant it was now tearing directly through packed homes, and destruction that followed was genuinely mind-blowing. The tornado sweeps or flattens everything in its quarter-mile-wide core. In one home near the school, 2 sisters, Karina and Sydney Vargas, are killed while sheltering in their bathtub. In another, a mom passed away when her home collapsed over her.
R.I.P.
Despite the forewarning
R.I.P.
of the tornado, there's just no way to properly prepare for an EF5 tornado without a shelter.
is
In the
true.
Briarwood neighborhood, over 13 homes were completely swept from their
What do you mean
foundations,
that?
and
Oh
over
my-
100
there's a lot
were
of
fully
houses.
destroyed. The propane tank from the Orr family farm lands in the destruction after being in the air for half a mile, while a third oil tank lands near Santa Fe Avenue, over a mile from its origin point. At the time of the tornado survey, the 4th oil tank had not been found. Crossing Santa Fe Avenue, the damage did not cease. Hundreds more homes were destroyed, with some basically turned to powder. The funnel was full of so much debris, trees were basically sandpapered to stubs,
What do you
and
mean
bushes near
sandpaper?
homes
Oh
were
my
skinned
God.
of their bark. Thousands of cars were also repeatedly lofted and mangled. The tornado's track was deviating here as well, changing from its essentially perfectly straight path to a more northeastern direction. This shift in the path length was far from a good thing, as it was now heading for the Plaza Towers subdivision, where the Plaza Towers Elementary School stood in the very center. As the tornado continued to
Oh my.
crawl towards the school,
RIP
it only
students.
seemed to increase in intensity. The ground in a field next to the school began to be scoured away multiple inches deep, and homes not even in the center of the tornado were swept clean, their debris turned
do you mean
into literal
swept
powder.
clean?
It wouldn't be long until the school was completely engulfed by the winds. The school itself consisted of 3 buildings: the main wing of the school, the gymnasium, and an extension of classrooms for the 3rd grade. Unfortunately, the south side of the vortex, where the strongest winds are, sliced directly over the 3rd grade building. As this happened, the eastern wall of the structure collapsed on top of dozens of students and teachers, sadly killing 7 3rd graders. The death toll would make it one of the most lethal tornado impacts on a school ever recorded. The extremity was not just limited to the school, however, as the surrounding neighborhood was completely flattened. Rows of homes to the south of the school were essentially thrown through the air, leaving nothing on the foundations, and even stripping at the tile on the concrete slabs. The devastation in South Plaza Towers would kill 7 other people while they were sheltering in their home, meaning in just a couple of minutes, the tornado had killed 14. Another element that may have contributed to the fatalities here was the appearance of the tornado, as debris and rain shrouded the once photogenic tube, transforming it into a nearly stationary one has to be unsurvivable. And unfortunately, 3 people died in the gas station. The loop also had another side effect. The path was now heading southeast, directly towards the Moore Medical Center, the town's hospital. As it ripped through the hospital, cars in and around the building were tossed, thrown, and shredded like toys, in some cases fusing multiple cars into an unrecognizable pulp. The reinforced stone column of the hospital allowed the structure to remain standing. However, almost every window and entryway was blown out, and the entire hospital was caked in mud, debris, and even piles of vehicles. The tornado begins to speed up past the hospital, and as it emerges from the rain, its appearance is very different from before. Now, a tall brown snake of destruction. Multiple businesses are now being flattened as the tornado crosses over the interstate and into more residential areas. The EF5 winds are now in a much tighter area, leading to an almost selective level of damage, as some homes are completely swept away, while others remain standing. Crossing a field, a row of industrial buildings lie in the path, and while the worst winds miss the businesses to the south, the weak metal structures hold little support, collapsing and crumbling from the winds. One man, 63-year-old William Sauce, sadly dies in the building he was leasing. As the tornado crosses into the next neighborhood, storm chaser Craig Nichols takes cover inside a random person's home, and he emerges to find, while the structure he was in was fine, just a couple yards down the road, blocks were leveled.
Oh my god.
Oh my. That was crazy. Oh.
To the south, Jeffrey Lekes also records the tornado, just barely missing him.
Oh, that's a huge. That's huge. Oh, that's really real fast.
More blocks are raised away as the tornado has now regained an east to northeast direction. The outer windfield and core both steadily shrink, turning into more of a drill into the earth as it continues to level more and more homes. A portion of the Highland East School is completely swept away, luckily with no one inside. And past the school, a park is destroyed and covered in mud. The tornado splinters one last row of homes south of Highway 37 before the packed suburbs of Moore cease. Maintaining a violent intensity, the vortex continues to shrink at a sudden rate. While multiple homes are still being impacted, the terror on the city of Moore is slowly coming to an end. And suddenly, K4 captures the tube, slowly snaking into nothing.
And maybe just the east side of Air Depot Road. There it is. It's gone, Mike. So let's see. We're going to stay right here. We're going to see if it recycles, but it's completely roped out, or it's continuing to rope out as we speak right now. Look at that school, guys. Oh my God, right there. Keep coming back to your left, Travis. Keep coming back to your left.
Dang.
If you guys can see this, I don't know how to.
Dang. El Tornado. That is a powerful tornado. El Tornado. Over 20-30 people died, I think. And seven third graders. That's crazy. But yeah.